Okay. Chapter 9, The Road to Revolution. Lesson 1, Difficulties with Mexico. We will learn about the conflicts that arose as the Mexican government tightened its control over the Anglo settlers. Here's your terms to know. Land speculator, a person who buys land with the hope of selling it for a large profit. Scheme, a secret plan, perhaps dishonest, to achieve a goal. Decree, an order that has the force of law. Significant, very important, duty, a tax on imported goods. Change creates tension. Guiding question. What caused tensions between the Anglo-American settlers in Texas and the Mexican government? During most of the 1820s, the Federalists held power in Mexico. Because they believed in sharing power with the states, they mostly left settlers in Texas alone. In 1829, however, the Centralists gained control of the Mexican government. They brought the Mexican states and provinces, including Texas, more closely under the national government's control. Here's a picture of Hayden Edwards. He was a wealthy land speculator, and his wife. Anglo-Americans in Texas protested these changes, and this added to the tensions between Texas and the Mexican government. However, there had been tensions before the Centralists came to power. The first conflict between the settlers and the Mexican government came in 1826. It involved the Nacogdoches land grant. In 1825, the Mexican government awarded a huge tract of land to an impresario named Hayden Edwards. He was a wealthy land speculator. He bought land so that he could sell it for profit. That's what a land speculator is. The land grant allowed Edwards to settle 800 families in the Nacogdoches area. Edwards found that many people already lived on land in his grant. The contract stated that he had to recognize the rights of any settlers with legal titles. Edwards declared that settlers who could not show clear titles to the land would have to leave or buy the land from him. Well, this angered many of the early settlers, especially those who could not prove ownership. The election for mayor of Nacogdoches increased tensions even more. One candidate, Samuel Norris, agreed with the early settlers. The other candidate and Edwards' son-in-law, Chichester Chaplin, sided with Edwards. After the vote, Edwards declared Chaplin the winner. Norris took the issue to Mexican official Jose Antonio Salcedo. Salcedo declared Norris the winner. Edwards would not accept that. Troubles in the colony continued, and settlers complained to officials. While Edwards was away, he left his brother Benjamin in charge. His brother annoyed Mexican officials with a number of angry letters, so they canceled Edwards' land grant, and this angered Edwards. The Fredonia Rebellion and Aftermath. Guiding question. What were the causes and effects of the Fredonian Rebellion? Late in 1826, the unrest in the area took a new turn. Supporters of Edwards rebelled against Mexican authority. In November, some of Edwards' followers seized Edwards, Norris, and others and charged them with crimes. Historians believed Edwards let himself be taken so it would look like he was not involved in the plot. The rebels replaced Norris with a new mayor. When Mexican officials heard of this, they sent troops to Nacogdoches. Then Benjamin Edwards, Hayden's brother, made a bold move. With the support of Richard Fields, a Cherokee chief, Benjamin and a band of followers proclaimed a new independent state, the Republic of Fredonia. On December 21st, 1826, they signed a Declaration of Independence. They raised a flag bearing the words Independence, Liberty, Justice, and prepared to defend themselves in the old stone fort. The Edwards brothers asked for help from Austin's colony and from the United States, but they did not get it. When Mexican troops approached Nacogdoches in January 1827, the Fredonian Rebellion ended. Some Fredonians were captured, but most fled to the United States. The Fredonian Rebellion was a minor event, and the rebels had little support. However, it did worry Mexican officials. They thought the revolt was part of an American scheme to take Texas. The United States had offered to buy Texas in 1827 and 1829. Mexican officials sent an inspection group to Texas led by General Manuel de Meriteran. When Meriteran wrote his report, he expressed concern about the growing American influence in Texas. Meriteran said that quick action was important, and he urged the government to place more troops around the settlements, attract more Mexican and European settlers, and develop more trade between Texas and Mexico. Now, Anglo Americans worried that the government would abolish or end slavery. Austin and Erasmo Seguin had worked to convince the government to allow slavery. However, in 1829, the President of Mexico issued a decree or order ending slavery. The order was never enforced in Texas, but it worried slaveholders. The Law of April 6, 1830. Guiding question: how did settlers in Texas react to the Law of April 6, 1830? On April 6, 1830, the Mexican government issued a law based on many of Meriteran's recommendations. This law of April 6, 1830 had a significant impact on Texas. The key features of the law of April 6, 1830: it stopped immigration from the United States, but encouraged it from Europe. It ended most unfulfilled impresario contracts. It set up new forts to prevent smuggling, the introduction of more enslaved people, and illegal land speculating. It discouraged trade between foreign nations and Texas by placing taxes called duties on foreign goods. Anglo settlers in Texas were alarmed by the law of April 6, 1830. Many of them depended on the growth of trade with the United States. Many also had friends and relatives who wanted to come to Texas. The ban on bringing in enslaved people revived fears that slavery would be outlawed in Texas. The law of April 6, 1830 was a turning point in relations between the colonists and the Mexican government. Each side began to distrust the other. Stephen F. Austin tried to negotiate with Mexican leaders. He soon realized that damage had already been done to relations between Texans and the Mexican government.